to strap in and get ready. The leaders in NRL Supercoach are incoming. Bringing you the ultimate insight to help you win your leagues and climb up the rankings. You're now listening to the Insight NRL Show with your hosts, Brain, Metrics, and Whisperer.
Yes, g'day everybody, welcome back. You're watching another Insight NRL show. I am the Supercoach Brain, joined by the Supercoach Matrix and the Supercoach Whisperer. Today's show is brought to you by Game Day Squad. Matrix, how are you, mate? You've had a little bit of time off. Whisperer and I have held the fort while you've gone and got on the piss for Super Bowl weekend. How was that?
Yeah, that was good. It was way better than the gastro I got. Thanks for not mentioning that live. But no, Super Bowl trip, went to the Sporting Globe, and I tell you what, it was a sensational venue. It's always a sensational game to watch the favourites lose. And, everyone knows I love my NFL. Apparently I love my golf. I look like I'm about to hit the links, I just realised.
Yeah, you look like you just teed off the last 7 holes and you're trying to hold it together for the last 2.
It's usually what it looks like through 7 holes. Very good. Josh, how you going, mate? You well?
Good, mate, good. I'm in full preparation for the charity match this weekend, and by preparation, I mean playing lawn mowing simulator while drinking guava cruises. So good prep for me for the weekend, but mate, it's good. We're here to talk about our, I guess, flagship episodes. We've been alluding to them for the last couple of weeks, so it's good that the footy season's finally here. I'm seeing Nico Hines score some junk points. We're recording this midway through the Raiders-Cronulla game, so seeing Nico score some much junky points is great.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll try and keep an eye on the game at the same time. But you mentioned the flagship episodes. Before we get into them, today's episode is brought to you by Game Day Squad. For those of you that want a little bit extra in terms of fantasy sports, and Game Day Squad are the newest boys on the block. If you want to get involved, you want to download the app, use the code IFSAUS, and you can get your squad started with three 9-player common packs to get things going. Boys, we're here to talk about
27 players.
Good math from Matrix as well. How many? You mustn't have had too many beers yet. That's probably the
no. That's also how many shots I'm through going into hole 3. So
nice. It's a good round. That's a great round.
Yeah. I was going to say that's only 3 balls in the water. You've done pretty well. We're here to talk about the hookers, the ladies of the night, so to speak, you pretty much treat them like that because. We might have a little bit of draft talk. We might have a little bit of classic talk. For the most part, we're going to be going through the top 20 most owned hookers, and we're going to be rating them or tiering them. And this is the first time we've done this. We've seen a lot of obviously podcasts are putting out some great content at the moment, but talking through how they like each position and who the guns are and the cheapies and all that. We thought we'd change things up and go through the top 20 most owned, but we're going to put them into 5 tiers. Josh, what 5 tiers are we going through, mate?
A couple cruises in, so we might get this wrong. But we've got set and forget. We've got potential keeper. We've got what it says on the tin. We've got potential value and fade or trap or something like that. I can't remember what the 5th one that I made up was, but along those lines.
Yeah, that's the one. It was it was like not interested or something really plain and boring. So I called it Brother So that's the players we're obviously not interested in at all. But there'll be plenty of each category, but we'll give our thoughts on all of those top 20 most owned hookers in this episode. And we're going to bring to the table 1 player each, aren't we, to have a little bit of a chat about not in the top 20 most owned. So that'll be pretty interesting as well. So stay tuned for that, guys. Let's rip into this. Hey, we'll get into the tiers on the screen. And you'll see that there. For those of you watching on YouTube, you'll see the tiers. We'll talk through them as best we can for those audio listeners, but maybe jump on and watch this one on YouTube. Boys, we'll go through each player as we go, I think is the best way to do it. And the most owned hooker at the moment, even though he does have a halfback duel, is Sandon Smith. Matrix, first of all, quick thoughts on Sandon Smith and a very quick first thought ranking on where you'd put him here in these tiers.
Yeah, look, obviously only good for... hopefully only 11 rounds. We hope Sam Walker can come back into his best, and I'm sure so will Roosters fans. But honestly, I think he's serviceable. I think that he will 100% make money, and the hooker duel is just super handy. We do have to make sure that we get rid of him at some stage throughout the year. So obviously never going to be a set and forget guy. I have to kind of put what it says on the tin, but I'd like to put somewhere between potential keeper, because it's a keeper as long as he's in the side, I think. Unless you sort of see somebody, say he gets to 400K and, there's another guy and he becomes a stepping stone. Must have is one of the things I'm going to say, but yeah, somewhere between keeper and what it says on the tin.
For me, he's a value pick personally. I think at the start of the year, we're getting a guy at 237K that should hopefully average north of 45 to start the year. And obviously, north of 45 is not keeper status. It's not even potential keeper status, because we know that those scores are going to dry up eventually. But I think you're getting 20 points of value plus out of Sandon Smith to start the year. Josh, you tend to agree, or you're leaning with Match?
Yeah, value pick for me. If he was locked in that spot all season long, we could probably put, potential keeper. But yeah, 20 points of value. I'm pretty keen on value pick. Unfortunately, Matrix, you have been outruled. Next one, Peter Mann.
Next one's Pete Mann. Yeah. What do we maybe kick us off, Josh? What do you think?
Brother. Ugh.
Oi. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not keen. Personally, I mean, he's 70K more than Sandon Smith with much more competition. You've got Jamie Humphries there, according to Supercoach, the player that's going to score the most points in round one. He's projected to score 104, apparently. So how can you pick man when that's happening? But no, look, in all seriousness, Ellis, I'm not keen. Realistically, I'm happy to go at the bottom of value or the top of Brother Ooh. But yeah, the floor's yours, Brano. Where are you more thinking?
Oh, look, it just depends on what your class value as, really. Like, I think maybe for everybody watching, first of all, what do you class as value? Let us know in the comments. But secondly, I think for me, value is at least 10 points of value. At hooker, though, tough. I mean, 300K is cheap, and he's obviously very popular for a reason, because Damien Cook's moved on to the Dragons now, but we do have Jamie Humphries there that's probably going to steal minutes or even be in a genuine 40-40 job share at hooker to start the year. I'd think maybe 45-35 Matrix. What do you reckon? Because I'm probably leaning with Josh on this one.
Yeah, I am too. And I did sort of have that shock value when he said it. But yeah, I'm not sure there's enough value there. And like with Sandon Smith, and we said that we referenced draft a little bit. With Sandon Smith there, I think that he is draftable in the later rounds. But Pete Mamazoulis is kind of just a waiver wire scrub to me when it comes to that reference. And yeah, look, if we start to see a better split, then sure. But yeah, I just don't think it's going to be there. 45-35.
I also think your value needs to shift the cheaper you go. I think you need more value as cheaper you go. It's not like we're talking about a guy like Kelmatulagi, right? Insight Fantasy Sports icon. He's priced at like a 45. If we get 15 points of value out of him, he's at a 60. If we get 15 points out of value out of Mamazoulis, he's 45. The money-making potential and the ability to sell at a high is much greater the higher priced player. So for me, 12 to 15 points is probably just not enough to spend at 300K, when I think we'll talk about another player in very, very soon, but a player that's much cheaper than Mamazoulis, who probably offers the same 12 to 13 points of value.
Yep, I tend to agree. So that's our first brother of the day. So we may as well play this out.
Brother, what's that?
Sorry, Rabbitohs fans. Next one is your boy Connor Watson, Josh. 26% owned, third most owned hooker at the moment, 583K. He's got the dual 2RF hooker. I completely get why people are going with him. I wasn't a believer initially, but I think I'm starting to lean towards being swayed towards Connor Watson. Just off the back of the fact, yes, his numbers are down at hooker, but I think he's much more of a long-term season, a full season prospect, I think, than the two guys we've just spoken about that you're probably going to have to move on at some point. I think you could reliably have Connor Watson there all year, but would I call him a set and forget? Probably not. Probably not initially. So I'd probably have him as a potential keeper, Connor Watson. Matrix, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I have him at potential keeper. I think that, what's he priced at? Like a 58 or something like that? Like, it's pretty good value. And I think one of the first reactions for everybody was he's still got his hooker duel. Let's add him. But yeah, you're right. He's probably going to actually have to play hooker. We like him a lot better at lock. So yeah.
Josh, you had the numbers on lock versus hooker. I'm going to throw them out there.
Don't have them on the top of my head, but it's somewhere around 72 versus 58. I am very firmly in potential keeper. I don't think we're going to get the top echelons of 72, but I wouldn't be shocked if Watson finishes the season or finishes his hooker stint averaging 63, 64, and then potentially pushes even higher once Cheese returns. So for me, the fact that he's got the 2 ARF duel, the fact that we can put him there and break glass in case of emergency, puts him firmly pretty rock solid potential keeper for me.
Tend to agree. There he goes. He's in there as potential keeper in the first one of the day.
I assume the next one's the quickest one that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, do we even need to? Do we just go straight off the set and forget
Right.
for Harry
Harry
Grant?
Grant, potential keeper. Nothing more to be said. People are down on him. I don't really understand why. For the last 5 years, he's gone 70, 70, 70, 70, like north of 70 every year. He's just him. He is the hooker god. Nothing more to be said.
Yeah, I mean, 70. Everybody puts him on this massive pedestal as the hooker one by a country mile, and I think it's fair to say he usually is. And obviously, when he starts a little bit slow last year, that's probably why people are tainted by Harry Grant last year. But at the end of the day, he came home with a real wet sail. I think he averaged like 85 for the run home in the final 5 games. So at the position that has very little upside metrics, it's a lock and load. The guy that can score tries, he can set up tries. He's a really big part of what Melbourne do offensively. He's a set and forget, 100%.
Yeah, I haven't owned him in the last couple of years, and it's probably to my detriment. I just have this belief that I'm basically punting front row forward and basically punting hooker. Tonight's going to be great for me. But we're recording front row forward after this. But yeah, look, I can get around just the logic behind just getting him and keeping him. I would be way more behind this if we just didn't know that he's just going to be playing Origin and maybe not rested, just eased back in after Origin. Bellamy seems to do that. Thanks, Kira.
Good. Yeah. The old cruiser drink stop. That's fucking outstanding, by the way. Has she got a drink card out there for you on the way through the hallway?
Mate, the amount that I've done for Valentine's Day tomorrow, I want to hope so.
Well done. I bought my missus a card and some chocolate, so that's about where it ends. But to be fair, I made sure I asked mine first. I said, "What'd you get me for Valentine's Day?" And I just matched it. Then you can never get in trouble. Can we have a conversation, a draft conversation, just for a second? I know that obviously a lot of people watch this for Classic and not draft, but Harry Grant, probably the only guy that I would draft in the first 4 rounds at hooker. Probably even 5 rounds. You talked about the fact that you fade both hooker and front row forward in draft, Matty. Is Harry Grant a guy that if he slips to the end of the first, start of the second round, are you just grabbing him there knowing he's the best in the position?
I do, because that for me is different. And you guys know I play a lot of NFL and that, but it's from the fact that the drop-off from the number 1 hooker, there is a big drop-off. I'm still not convinced on first round, but if he's still there at 14th, yeah, 100%, I can get behind it. So yeah, but it's because of how much better he is than the next guy. So
yeah, it's like, are there people in the late first round that are going to average more than Grant? Maybe. Are there people in the late first round that are going to average the next person in their position by potentially 15 points? No. So for me, in a non-captain's draft, Grant firmly rock bottom at the sort of back end of the first round, getting on that hook there.
Yeah, for sure.
We said we weren't going to spend much time on him. We spent nearly 5 minutes, and we've gone through 4 people in 13 minutes. We'll get a couple of these rapid fire, boys.
It makes it pretty easy to move through these once we get to the end of this list. That's
Max
for sure.
For me, firmly in. Fuck, I hate to say it, but he's in brother.
Oh, no way! I never would have picked that because currently, looking at your draft board, I think you might have some adjusting to do, Josh.
Yeah, very much so. That was done on the premise that he starts, and that's not happening by the sounds of it. Right now, what we know, I can't put him in what's on the tin because I think he's just quite overpriced. So it just, by process of elimination, he's in the brother.
Matty, do you back that?
Yeah, I back it.
Of course, Matty backs it. His boy Tom Gilbert has taken Max Plath's spot.
True.
Yeah,
good call.
Yeah, and you know what? That is a guy I've been riding home. So it's nice to finally get one over you. But look, just not about Max Plath. Might even move Wade Egan up in front of him. So.
Oh, yeah, I don't know about that. Let's not get carried away.
Normally we have live trades like the classic pod during the week in the preseason. Then sets live draft updates.
Yeah, live draft board slides. Max Plath just went flying down the draft board at hooker. But all right, so the consensus seems to be that he is in the brother category, which is disappointing because we're all pretty excited about what he could have done this year. But I think the evidence there with Plath and just the question around the minutes, and obviously, he can fill in at hooker, he can fill in at lock. Where do the minutes come from? I just don't think that there's enough at the price point. So, especially priced at a 60 is just way too high.
Actually, just should not be 10% owned at 617K, guys. So, yeah, just revisit your teams and fix that one up.
Yep. Next people should be fixing this one up as well. Blake Moser, 312K, 8.6% owned at the moment. So, Matrix, you're a Broncos boy. Why should people be taking Blake Moser out of their team ASAP?
He's going to miss the start of the year at the very least. Potential season-ending injury. We're going to get some cheap hookers, but it is not going to be Blake Moser this year. Pretty easy to gloss over this one.
Yeah, we all have a cheap hooker, but unfortunately, Blake Moser is not the man this year, so we can move past him pretty quickly. But Josh, Api Coruscant comes up next, 5.5% owned. Nearly 5,000 super coaches own him at this point. 612K, exactly the same price as Max Plath. Question mark around the goal kicking again this year with Dewey likely back in the team. How do you feel about Api?
So if Api was locked in the goal kicking, I think we can put him pretty firmly in potential keeper. But without the goal kicking, I still think there is some upside. I think he's our first man to enter what it says on the tin.
Mm-hmm. I reckon you're pretty spot on. Yeah, I think you're right. We're talking draft now, we're probably not looking at Api to start the season, considering of the value around Connor Watson potentially, and then also a couple of other guys we're about to talk about. But where would you take Api in a draft? Do you think that he's going to slide down to that kind of 6th, 7th round pick? Or do you think people are going to be grabbing him pretty early, considering a lot of classic players play draft, right? Yeah. So they look at the classic price and go, oh, well, Api's a premium hooker. I need to get him early.
Back end of the middle of the fourth, back end of the fourth, maybe like top 50.
Well, I mean, he averaged 61 last year, which is, pretty solid. So at the end of the day, if you can get 60 from your hooker every single week in draft, you're doing pretty well. But I think you can't wait. I think people are probably going to go too early at a lot of these premium hookers, and you'll be able to pick up some real nice value at the end of the draft. Matty, you talk about punting hooker completely. Talk to us a little bit about that strategy for anybody who isn't really kind of switched on for draft.
It's just getting somebody super late so that you can chase points in those high upside positions. You'll notice if you're a classic player, fullbacks are very, very expensive. I'm going out there and getting a really good fullback, a really good halfback, high upside, try scoring second row forward, goal kicking center wing, and then just leaving my hooker pick in the corner. And look, in all honesty, I reckon my hooker one in my last 3 drafts have been Lachlan Croker twice and Billy Walters once. If you'd like to, if that's punting, because Lachlan Croker classically has always scored 50, has 40 to 50, has 0 classic relevance. And I think that people let that skew it in draft. I like to treat it as a completely separate game. And Lachlan Croker, obviously not this year, but in his roles in years past has been a serviceable draft player. So
for sure. Boys, we've got Owen Paddy next on the list, 4.5% owned. Obviously, there's only 2 hooker spots, so the ownership numbers start to tank very quickly when we get to the 8th most owned hooker, and he's only 4.5% owned. 198K, bottom dollar. There's a reason why. We all saw that last weekend, the reason why everyone's keen on him. Not getting a run this week, Josh, unfortunately, but you understand why people are going with Owen Paddy in Classic.
Yeah, we'll chuck him in value pick, and at the end of the episode, for anyone that's not familiar with tier list rankings, what we'll do is we'll go through each category and sort of list them. Like, do we think Sen Smith's a better value pick than Owen Paddy? And we'll discuss that at the end of the episode. But for me, I think we're all pretty consensus on value pick. 188K hooker, if he's playing 30, 40 minutes off the bench, then there's obviously value there. The Phoenix Crosslands. I'll tell you what, I've never seen a man that looks more than what it says on the tin than Phoenix Crosland in my life.
It's 35, and his COV of probably 12%, and he'll get between 35 and 37 every single week.
Yeah.
Obviously, the question marks around whether he starts or not, right? Because there's been a few rumours that he might start at hooker. Jaden Brayley seems to be out of Newcastle, or at least out of favour. Matrix, first of all, before I give my thoughts, is there any love for Crossland at all? 341k, he's very similar price to a lot of the other guys we're about to talk about too, these value picks. Any value in him?
So first of all, you said, what do you think about Phoenix Crossland? And I didn't.
I was going to say, we're now at February 13th. The app opened like middle of December. So we've had 8 weeks of tinkering. Have you once just ever thought, hey, bit of Phoenix Crosland anyone?
I've seen Phoenix Crosland in your team this preseason, Josh, so I don't know about throwing too much shade around.
When has Phoenix Crosland ever been in my team? Come on.
I swear you've sent us a photo this year is when he got named to be at hooker in a fucking intra-squad trial match or something. And you've got, post session of training, and you're like,
don't expose me like that. Come on.
Yes, I think what it says on the tin, but the tin is also like really kind of no frills baked beans.
Black and gold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Black and gold 2-minute noodles, genuinely.
Yeah, spot on. Speaking of also what it says on the tin, I think we can probably agree pretty quickly.
I just said I've never seen a man that says what's in the tin more than Phoenix Crosland. I may have misspoken because
Cam McInnes is
that Amex sponsorship should just say blend. Just COV of 11%.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the tin is like those like really chunky braised steak and onions though. Like it is, I like what's in the tin. It is what's in the tin, but I like it.
Tastes good. Doesn't look that great though when you pour it out into a bowl. Is that what you're saying? So
yeah,
I think Cam McInnes we're going to get exactly what we expect from Cam McInnes this year. I don't think that there's any kind of upside for Cam McInnes. We know we're going to get anywhere between 55 and 65 most weeks. I think he's a good kind of sleeper pick a little bit later in the draft maybe, but the dual is also handy, having 2RF hooker dual, very similar to Plath and Connor Watson. But yeah, I think we're going to get exactly what we expect from Cam McInnes. So
your boy, Bruno.
Yes, my boy. My argument for Jeremy Marshall-King is he could probably be a potential keeper. Just off the back of the fact that I think at 550, there's value there too. And I don't necessarily want to say he's a value pick because I don't think there's enough value. I don't think he's going to be a 700k hooker. But at 555k, I think he could crack 650 at some point. We saw him average 63 last season in non-injury affected games. So he had a really kind of slow start or slow finish to the season last year that dragged his average back down, plus the head knock and the injury game that dragged it down. So I think there is probably 8 points of value in Jeremy Marshall-King, and that I'd be more than happy to lock in a 61, 62 from him, which makes him a potential keeper for me. The only question mark is that Plath roll off the bench
our
creates
brother
the brother Plath might spell him. And if that's 10, 15 minutes, like 65 minutes for Jeremy Marshall-King probably isn't enough for me to feel amazing about it. But
no.
Yeah, what do you think, Josh?
I think based off perceived role, he's a pretty attractive looking potential keeper for me because he presents some value, but not enough value to sell, but also not enough to he's not shit enough to sell either. So potential keeper basically for me. I'm pretty happy to lock him in there.
Natrix, thoughts?
Yeah, I think if you were going to go a primo, there is the question marks about Plath, but there's question marks with Happy about the goal kicking, and there's question marks with Harry about Origin. Like, there's always going to be question marks through these guys, but kind of what it says on the tin because of the price that you're paying. But you could keep him. So,
yeah, absolutely. Also, another tin guy, Reece Robson. I think there's a little bit more upside though. It's like the really fancy kind of nice brand of soup.
Yeah.
But it's still soup, right?
It's Campbell's. It's Campbell's. It's Heinz. It's safe. It's comforting. It's What it says on the tin for Mr. Robson. Get him in because I want to spend more time talking about the next man.
Do you have any concerns with Robson that foot on the door, going down to Bondi, anything like that, or he's just going to roll through and do his job?
As one of my favorite podcasters, SC Matrix says, no, hope this helps.
Cool.
I think he's going to be good as he has been.
He
the
doesn't
last
seem
3,
like
4
the kind of
seasons.
guy that's just going to throw down tools.
Any question marks around the signing of Carl Lawton? We know that Reece Robson's been an 80-minute hooker for the most part the last 3
No hope
years.
this helps.
Matrix, I'll let you take this one.
Yeah,
No hope this helps.
Good, cool. Well, Reece Robson goes into what it says on the tin.
I want to spend as much
Go
time
on.
as possible talking about Blake Brayley because I think he could potentially be the hook too this year.
Ooh,
Okay, that's wild.
this is spicy takes. Did I read the wrong one?
Wrong
I honestly
episode.
think he could finish up the second highest averaging hooker before the season.
So obviously Harry Grant won, right? Harry Grant won at maybe 74, 75 for the season?
Yeah, but do you want to know how good Harry Grant is? And if I think Blake Brayley is the number 2 hooker, he still doesn't crack set and forget.
Yeah. Oh, no, 100%. Harry Grant's the only man at the top of the mountain here, I think. But what do you think? What's your predicted average? If you think he's going to be second, how many per game?
My predicted or what I think he could get to, because they're two different. I predicted it's like 62, but like if he finished on like 64 and a half, 65, like I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, okay. I love the Blake Brayley take. I've been influenced by big podcasters on this one, and that I was trying my best to try and fit him into my team, and I don't think I can just based on the structure and where I want to spend my money. But if I was to get somebody in, I was really high on Jeremy Marshall-King. I had him really, really high on my draft board, and he's starting to slide a little bit now. And Blake Brayley's starting to meet him, so I don't mind it. Matty, any love for Blake Brayley now that AFB's in the team? I'm assuming that's where the appeal is too, right?
So I thought I was so fucking high on this guy, and I think that he can average a 58.
Not as high as me.
Yeah. I was like, you said Blake Brayley. I was like, oh, I can't, we're going to have a Blake Brayley circle jerk, and you just throwing out numbers like.
No, I came before the circle even started.
No, he's going to get 55, and he's priced at 51. Like, is it what says on the tin? Kind of, but I also think that that's potential keeper status in the hooker position because of how awful it's been. I think that there's value in there, and I think that you can keep him, but you need to be okay with mediocrity, basically.
My hot take on Brayley is his season. He finishes the season with a 6, starting as his average.
Okay. Well, that puts him in, I think that's fair to say, puts him in potential keeper category, and I tend to agree with that. I think we're all on the same page there. It's the AFB signing, isn't it? It's just that rolling through the middle, the quick play the ball. We saw what it made Wade Egan look like prime Robbie Farah the last 2 years. So if AFB can do what he's done at the Wars for the Sharks this year, and add in Tom Hazelton there as well, he's starting to play his best footy. Like they've got some pretty exciting things to look forward to, the Sharks this year. But the next one is Reed Marnie, 562K, 2.7% owned. I don't like whenever I say his name, I like vomit a little bit in my mouth because he's done some bad things to me in the last 2 seasons. Let me tell you what they are. Supercoach 2 years ago, I bought him at I think he was rolling on a like early 60s average, 63 average or so. And then I literally did not get one good game out of him. As soon as I bought him, he dropped back to averaging probably 45 over then the next two months. And I think, Josh, you're in the same boat as me because I can see you nodding your head.
Yeah, I was the same.
And then last year, I was doing well in fantasy. I was coming 30th. And I thought, you know what? This is the right time now to buy at Reed Marnie. He's doing really well. He was scoring 50s for fun in fantasy, which is keeper status kind of stuff. And then he decided to go and average 37 for the next 5 weeks after I bought him. Literally, like as soon as I buy him, he knows. He gets it. But
he gets the text. He's like, hey, Brainball got you this week. So how about you stink it up?
Just pack it up, man. Pack it up. What it says on the tin, though, to be fair, I think, are we all in agreement?
Can I just F you guys off? Because, like, realistically, like, yeah, you guys have been butthurt by it, but it's a new year. And he is actually one of those hookers that have upside. Like, unless you want to just get Blake Brayley and get 55, because I just looked at the draft board and I had him rated the highest, and I had him at like a 57. I know you guys have changed your opinion. We've seen at AFB, we've seen, Tom Hazelton and blokes like that busting the line, and that's great. But Reed Marnie, like the pack there's upside there. If you just don't want to treat Hooker as mid and you do want to chase upside, Reed Marnie is one of those guys.
He goes on runs. I'm going to say that. He goes on runs. I don't think you can expect... I think Blake Brayley will be better than him across the season. But I think Reed Marnie, you need to get him at the right time. And he will. He will average 65 to 70 across 4 or 5 weeks. He'll also then average 45 after that.
So Reed Marnie's a bit like my household at the moment, going on runs.
Yeah.
Reed Marnie
tackling
to
the
me
porcelain.
says what it says on the tin.
I think I agree with that. All right. Now, things are getting serious, boys. Corey Pakes.
Value pick. 232K,
2.7% owned. Madge loves him. Seeming to be the front runner for the 9 jersey. Matrix, you'd probably know more than us as a Broncos fan. Thoughts on Corey Pakes, and is he a value pick?
Yeah, he is, because he's bottomed out. I did go back and look at his stats, and I don't have it exactly in front of me because you've got to go all the way back to about 2022. And like his PPM has never been good. Like, honestly, like it's been like 0.68 and everything like that. I think there'll be a minute split. I think that if he gets 40 minutes, then yes, it is a value pick, but it's not very sexy. It's not very exciting.
So games over 50 minutes averages 35.8. Games over 60 minutes averages 41.5.
How many games has he ever played over 60 minutes? 3?
Less than 3, more than 1.
Yeah, you're cherry picking stats. Like as somebody that goes to every
minutes, but like if a 230K hooker is playing 50 minutes, then he has to be value pick.
I don't think he'll play 50 minutes. That's probably where it comes from.
So where do the minutes get shared?
What's on the tin then? Because he's not Brother like. Because
no, he is a value pick, but I don't think it's like as big of a slam dunk as like if you go into our Patreon WhatsApp chat at the moment and everybody's like, "Oh, Corey Pates, yeah, let's just get him in." And I get it; it is fading the position, but I do think like
when you say everyone, do you just mean me?
Yeah, and cheese, you and cheese, because I never know which Josh is talking.
My argument here is like people are going to look at Mamazelis and be like, oh, well, if you're projecting him to be, playing 40, why is he in Brother and you're so keen on Pakes to be in value pick because Pakes is 7 points cheaper than
I was just about to say that I think Pete Mamazelis is a better buy than Corey Pakes.
Oh, so you're okay.
You don't need to agree with me.
I don't think I do.
Yeah, I don't think I do either.
Value, but when we go and rank these guys,
when we order this, he
will be last.
I don't know if last. He might be above Paddy, but we'll have the discussion.
It's getting tough now. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel here on a few of these guys, but that's okay. Now, speaking of the man that was the beneficiary of AFB's great play over the last 2 years is Wade Egan. What is he at the moment? It's already been played. We've gone real early here on the Wade Egan.
Hey.
I feel like that was Matrix.
I'm a Brother
491K, 2.5% owned. He averaged obviously like 48 last year. Injury affected. Man knows how to find a head knock, doesn't he, Wade Egan? And that full testament to his toughness and, how many tackles he makes. But fuck, he's a tough watch.
Yeah, I just think he's Brother because I think, if you average 60 points last year and you regress by 4, you're 56. That's not the end of the world. Mm-hmm. If your hooker scores 56, it's fine. If you're 49 and you regress by like 4 or 5, you're like low to mid 40s.
You are then Mitch Kenny.
Yes, you are 2 games of Sonny Luke per year.
So he's a Brother I think.
Matty, what do you think? I think he's a Brother just because.
If you guys are that high on Blake Brayley because AFB's there, and then you lose AFB, and suddenly Wade Egan is Corey Pakes. So
fair call. All right, he's a Brother. He's in there.
But
Okay.
when we reorder it, I'm not going to disrespect him by putting him at the end of the brother. I think he'll be close to the top.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Now, Damien Cook, gone to the Dragons. And you know the disrespect when I was doing these images? They haven't even taken a Dragons jersey photo of him yet. He's still stuck in his Rabbitohs jersey in this episode. I feel sorry for him. I feel like that decreases his points by maybe 3 or 4 just because he's still in a Rabbitohs jersey. 662K, second most expensive hooker last year. Oh, I mean,
what it says on the tin.
Yeah, I think you're probably going to get anywhere between 55 and 62 this year for Damien Cook. And it's also off the back of the fact that Flano's come out and said that he's probably going to play through the middle when he's not at hooker, which is positive. Initially, I was looking at it going, where the fuck are these minutes going to go for Jacob Little? And it looks like Little will come on at hooker and Cook will move to the 13. So I think that makes me feel a bit better about Cook, but there's no way in the world I'm touching him at that price in Classic. And I think he might fall in draft as well for people that are pretty switched on. I reckon you might be able to pick him up kind of late because people are going to be worried about the minute split matrix. What do you reckon?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I just think he could turn into a real value pick for draft. No, not touching him with the 10-foot pole in Classic. But yeah, just a value pick for draft because we've seen him do it before. We've seen it probably more with like New South Wales and stuff. If there's an injury, like he just finds his way out there on the park. He'll play in the centres. He's going to come through lock. No, he should be 0% owned, to be honest, in Classic. But
so are we saying this?
That's exactly what it says on the tin.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is great audio content.
I suppose we are.
Yeah, that's the only exactly what it says on the tin video audio that I could find in lane. It took me like half an hour, so please appreciate that.
None of us heard it. All right, there we go.
Oh, you didn't hear it the first time? Spewing.
No,
okay.
there we go. We heard it.
Good. Good job.
Did that take you half an hour?
Nah, or maybe 25 minutes.
Never do that again.
Oh, well, okay. You do all the post-production yourself, would you? Brennan Hands, boys, is next 349K, 2.5% owned.
Set and forget.
Set and forget?
Yeah. Above Harry Grant. No, look, I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one. I feel like I'm the only one in the Brendan Hands camp, genuinely.
No, I'm with you. He's in my team, and he's my hooker one at the moment.
Oh, nice. A man of culture.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's all dependent on whether he's an 80-minute hooker or not, or even 70 or 60 minutes is fine. That's fine for me.
He's value.
Matrix?
Yeah.
You're not keen.
I haven't been burnt before. I don't think he's fantastic. I think if he plays 80 minutes, he will be in my team. If there's going to be any sort of minute split, like best case scenario, he goes up to 480 or something. He's just not fantastic. I didn't see that development last year. He was just better than Lussick. So,
I mean, like he's got a pretty decent career average when he plays over 50 minutes. 60 minutes, sorry. Career average is 52.9. And he averaged 48.4 playing over 50 minutes last year. So, I mean, when we're paying for a 35 and you can get a 50, if the minutes are there, I'm pretty happy with that at the position. Like we're talking about a guy who could be worth 500, 515, 520K in Classic. And then he's your stepping stone, isn't he? He's kind of like the ultimate stepping stone at the price to then get up to a keeper, get up to a Harry Grant. Hopefully Harry Grant falls off a little bit to start the season. We can pick him up a little bit cheaper and maybe they meet a little bit closer.
Why did you say Harry Grant when you can get him to Ben Hunt in round 10 when there's
yeah, fuck off. Yeah. We forgot to put Ben Hunt's graphic on this episode. Sorry about that. Oh, that's right. He's not a hooker. I think Hands is probably a value pick. Are we in agreement?
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, all right. Mitch Kenny. Full-time premiership winning Mitch Kenny. What do we think here?
The tin. It's in the tin.
I reckon he could be nearly. We talked about Cam McInnes and Phoenix Crossan being what it says on the tin. This guy could be even closer. I reckon.
Yeah, he is. You know how like
LeBron be my last pick in draft every year.
You know how LeBron, MJ, and all those did like the Captain Frosties like sponsorship.
Mm-hmm.
Mitch Kenny should just do a spam endorsement. He is the 10.
Yeah, he is a 10 himself, I reckon.
Anyone.
A career high average last year, 47 points per game compared to then the 38s and the 29s and stuff the year before that. So,
cool.
Yeah, so
That
good.
screams tin to me.
Tin. Very, very much so tin. So he can go on there. And boys, that we saved the best for last, let me tell you that much. We've got the great Carl Lawton as the 20th most owned hooker in
Why?
Supercoach. I don't know. Yeah, he's in the bin. We might even create another category called in the bin, just for Carl Lawton.
All right, let's rank these and we'll get this this episode done. Harry Grant stands alone at the top. Potential keepers, boys. I reckon. Look, realistically, I think if we swap JMK and Brayley around, I'm pretty happy with that order.
Yeah, I'd probably tend to agree.
JMK out. I got JMK averaging more than
over
Brayley,
Brales?
but I suppose he's cheaper. That's cool.
I think so.
The vote's yours. Who do you think is going to average more this season, JMK or Brayley?
I think just due to the Plath factor, I think we're probably going to see Brayley average more.
Nice.
Yeah, I think as much as it pains me to say it, because I love Jeremy Marshall-King, I'm super high on him, but I think Brayley's got him this year.
All right, I'll give my quick rankings. I think
Go for it.
Cook at 1, Appy at 2, McInnes at 3, Robson at 3. Sorry, forgot he was there. McInnes at 4, Marnie at 5, Kenny, and then Cross. You guys have any disagreements?
I think Marnie averages more than Reece Robson.
Okay. And
I don't.
Do you think Robson averages more than McInnes?
Probably in Supercoach, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If you want to put Marnie at 3, I'm not against it. I'm not going to lose sleep over it, but it's up to Bruno.
Marnie is like nowhere near my top 7 hookers on my draft board. Because I've been burnt. So I don't know whether I'm the right person to ask. But
I also have Cook at like 9, but now I know that he's playing 13. I'm going to have to bump him up. So I don't know. I'm happy. I don't care. Like I'm happy to swap Marnie and McInnes if we want to like be in the middle.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably the best play. I'd probably go Reece Robson 3, Marnie 4, McInnes 5. But I'm tempted to probably even get a petition going on Appy being ahead of Cook. But I'm not going to debate that. Like, if you want to,
I think Appy.
Cool. That's cool.
I think it's only obviously the goal kicking is the question mark for Appy, but also the fact that Luai's there now. Like, how creative does he need to be? Like, he doesn't need to be doing everything anymore. That's probably fair. The argument against Appy.
I'm happy. Like, I don't care where I'm Appy Coruscant here. I don't care where you want to put it.
I think Appy needs to go ahead of Cook just due to the minute share, and we'll see what that role looks like later. Value picks, boys. We've got Sandon Smith. I think he's number 1. I think Brendan Hands is probably number 2, and then it's down to Pakes versus Paddy. And I think long term, if we're looking at who makes more money, it's probably Pakes.
I think so. Matty, you happy with that?
Sure.
No, he's not. Go on, present your argument.
I do just
say your chest.
Yeah, no, I do just think Paddy over Pakes. So
majority rules. So I like your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like you've got Moser. Like, hopefully this isn't season ending for Moser, and you've got more pieces to work his way back in. You've got like blokes like Starling trying to get out of Canberra, creating more minutes in Canberra, but you're just trying to throw so many extra hookers. Like you've got Smoothie, you've got Walters, you've got Pakes. It just could be whoever.
You know what?
Is in Madge's favour. Whoever trades.
This is season long. Rounds 1 to 10. I leave it as is. Season long. Brano, flip it around. Let's go with Paddy.
All right.
Nice. That's a big move there. That's podcast shattering.
It's a power move.
And now we're talking about the brother Urs.
Do you want to rank these shittest to best or best to shittest?
Let's go best to shittest.
Okay.
Because that's what we've done every other category.
I think Plath at 1, obviously.
Yeah, I think it has to be Plath at 1, maybe. Oh, shit. Wait.
Egan 2?
I was going to say Egan can't drop down sub 400K. I wouldn't thought.
I'm pretty happy to leave it where it is. See, if we're talking
I was going to say. Yep, I agree with that, Matty. Happy with that?
Yeah, 100%. I'm still more likely to buy Mamazoulis than I am Egan, but that's price related, not.
Yeah. I think if we're talking like total average, I guess if we're talking total average, like Hands is above Smith for season, but I think we can put a hard caveat on Sandon Smith that you're buying him for 10 weeks, really.
Yeah, pretty much, especially with the goal for sure.
Let us know in the comments if you like this or not. If you didn't like it, tough luck. We've already scheduled in the other 6 episodes to come out, but we'll know for next year. But I think this is a fun, informative way to do podcast positions this year. No one's really doing it this way, so it's also
something different.
5 minutes.
That's it.
Do we have
very
bloke
quickly.
Out of 20? Yeah.
Top
a
20.
Bloke out of the top 20 that you wanted? Yeah.
So very quickly for me, and maybe this is just a draft conversation because I'm not picking a guy out of the top 20 that's in Classic, but Jacob Little is going to slide this year. He's going to slide so far down draft boards, it's not funny because they're going to be worried about the minute split. I think Jacob Little still probably could play 50 to 60 minutes this year, and he could play them at hooker if Cook is moving into the middle. So I think as a last round flyer, second last round flyer, you haven't got a hooker yet. You're looking and you're going, fuck, it's looking pretty grim. You've got Corey Pakes there. You've got a few of these other cheaper guys. I would be picking up Jacob Little very late this year in draft. So he's my sleeper that I think people are going to leave right to the end. What about you, Josh?
I can't remember who mine was. I think it was Lussick. I think it's just a handcuff scenario here with hands. Depends on what Riles does, what he runs, what kind of rotation he runs. If he's running a one hooker and you pick hands, I think you're crazy not to try and take a flyer on Lussick in the last round, just as a bit of a handcuff.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Matty?
Mine's a bit left field and comes from a report earlier on in the week. Your boy Sangster has said that we will get some updates before round 1, and Jazz Tavanga has been training at hooker when it comes to Manly. Lachlan Croker has been banged up. We haven't seen him for however long. I believe it was concussion originally. Jake Simpkin was subbed in for periods, but I sort of see him as a impact 25-minute guy. If Jazz Tavanga's playing meaningful minutes, I think late in drafts you could, I suppose, pick up 350k Jazz Tavanga.
Josh, you were floating the idea of Brandon Smith, I think was going to be your guy.
Oh, right. Okay. Brandon
Anything
Smith,
you wanted to add on him?
I tell you what, he's a guy that you could probably pick up on the waivers like 3 weeks before he comes back from his ACL. And probably will, I can't remember. I haven't looked at Brandon Smith, but does he have dual? Do we know?
Good question.
I've not looked at Brandon Smith.
No, he doesn't. Hooker only.
Okay, so if he does pick up that 2RF dual, like if he returns mid-season, we can get him before those final dual updates. He's a guy you could potentially pick up off the waivers, 2 or 3 weeks before he makes his return, and a guy that you can just stash in your very, very deep draft leagues and just have some rotation cover there.
I'll go as far to say it doesn't matter. I'm not playing him at second row forward anyway. So,
I think if you're a sicko, you're playing 16, 18-man draft leagues, you can do worse by plugging him in for a couple of weeks. So,
yeah, for sure. I think, obviously picking these guys up and stashing them for a couple of weeks before they come back is always the play. So, keep an eye out on your waivers for sure. But, guys, that'll do us. That's hooker done. I can't believe we talked for 47 minutes about one of the most boring positions in Supercoach. But there you go.
I like this format.
Yeah, to be fair, I looked at our hooker episode from last year and it went for like an hour 20. So I reckon we've done okay. But that is hookers done. Let us know what you think of the format. If you like it, if you don't like it, if you've got some feedback on how you'd like us to change it up. Like Josh said, we've already got a plan, so we'll take it into consideration for next year. But thanks for watching, guys. Yeah, that's right. Thanks for watching. We'll make sure to hit subscribe and like. Leave us a review on audio, and we'll catch you for the next one. Front row forwards are coming up soon. Catch you then.
cheerio. Well, there's only 1.5